thank you for joining the Society of Actuarial Sciences Coffee Talk. My name is Suee Chieh, and I am the current president of the Society of Actuarial Science. And for those of you who don't know, it's a young society in Heriot-Watt University aims to bridge students and prospective actuaries to the actuarial industry and the real working world. In a world of uncertainties, actuaries rise to conquer the risks in our lives, and yet many of us who aims to be part of this profession have yet to understand the reality that we are facing. Hence, we have today President of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries to discuss with us about his views on these matters. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Suee Chieh. Now, before we begin, is there anything you'd like to share with us, Mr. Tan?
Yes, I do. My presentation.
Oh, sure. Wait, because we have a little bit, we have some questions prepared for you, but it's all right.
I have. Thanks very much, Suee Chieh. Congratulations for being the president of the Society of Actuarial Students at Heriot-Watt. Yeah. I also want to acknowledge Alistair Wallace, who I believe is in the group. I just saw his name. Who's the head of the School of Maths and Computer Science, and also a colleague in the management board at IFOA. And I also want to thank Laila Al-Gabor, who's as a professor who has been liaising with me. And today, my presentation is based on the list of questions she has compiled from the students and probably discussed amongst herself and her faculty. Yeah. I also saw Andrew Keynes in the name. Hi, Andrew. I hope you're well in Scotland. It must be early in the morning, so thanks for joining. And I see a name of an old, not old, a professor of mine, Vasos Palika, who I learned the history of mathematics from in a short program in 2019. I think 2019. I enjoyed that program so much, yeah, because I used some of the material talking about the DNA of the actuary. So Vasos, you came in, but I have nothing mathematical to talk about. My questions is really about answering the questions which are of most concern to the students. Remember, I was like you 45 years, 40 years ago, and those were the questions I have. And I wouldn't want to pretend to tell you that I have all the answers. I found these as answers which work for me. But you're not me, you are different, so you need to adjust answers. Yeah. So my answers are not official in the sense that they are necessarily the right answer, but that was my journey. Yeah. And it has been a rewarding journey. I jumped at it when Alistair suggested I speak to you all because actuarial science is very dear to me. Malaysia is very dear to me, yeah, because Malaysia was the place I grew up, and I was born probably about 5 km or 6 km from your university, yeah. And Heriot-Watt is a highly respected university and probably one of the earliest or oldest university to start an actuarial science program. I think without doubt, yeah. Working with a faculty at that time, I remember that well. So for that reason, I'm here. So my presentation is to answer about 10 questions, and I will answer it as ably as I can. And these questions are from Laila, Professor Laila, and here it goes. Right, here it goes. Sorry, I got the wrong mouse. The first question she asked, could you describe your career path and what do you do to end up where you are today? And I would answer that according to the pivotal points in my career since I was at the age of 16 or 17, yeah, or in fact earlier. And there are about 6 or 7 pivotal points, and your pivotal points will be different from mine, yeah. I heard the word actuary at the age of 13 or 14. 13 is the first year in secondary school in Malaysia, in what we call Form 1, yeah, Form 1 or Form 2. I was always visiting an older friend's house. His name is Lawrence, and he's an Indian gentleman about 10 years older than me. And he has another friend called Dominic, who has since passed away. But Dominic is a very capable person. and he was working for Great Eastern temporarily during holidays as an insurance salesperson. And he told me about how there was this man, H.N. Handa, who was the first actuary working in Malaysia, but he's actually from Sri Lanka, and eventually he went back to Canada and retired. He has passed away since. But how capable he had and what he does, Because Dominic is but Dominic's command of language is very good. So I always remember the word. My decision to be an actuary came later, and some of you who see my LinkedIn posting, I think I started to be an actuary in 1975, and I was age 16. And there was my teacher. My teacher was Mr. Lau T, who was very dear to me, and I've since then I've actually I've written him a postcard every year, and I've last year I went out with him, went shopping, Lau T, so we have kept contact for 40 years. He was my teacher in mathematics, and he was a key to me to ask me to think about actuarial science, and he was also a key to recommending books by Bertrand Russell, who as you see some of my quotes, not necessarily today, but my link or my 61 tips would have from Bertrand Russell, H.G. Wells, and he taught me to think rationally, and also in a very liberal fashion, to challenge every authority, and to test your thinking against anything you hear. So his name is Mr. Lau T. Yeah. So I grew up in a very small town in Malaysia, about 10 to 20,000 people. Nottingham University is very near my town. Yeah, Nottingham University in Broca. And I went to school in Kajang High School, where I decided to be an actuary in 1975. And then I had a good fortune to go into LSE. I got good grades in my A levels, grade A. But I think the first thing was the decision to be an actuary. And there were many stories because largely very few people know what an actuary is. I was among the first Malaysian IFOA actuaries is me, Zainal, and Govin, right, in 1984. And before that, it was two other Malaysian actuaries, but they're from Suee Chieh. But fortunately, my teachers were very confident. But I met career advisors and people from British Council who sort of effectively discouraged me. But I persevere. So I went to LSE after getting good grades in A levels. Yeah. And that was the first decision. The second decision was that I was accepted by Prudential, right? Many people apply to Prudential, so we are given a list. Older actuaries will remember we are given a list of potential employers, so you apply to almost everybody. But I think that I had a proposition. In my application form. I think I have a copy of the application form, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, otherwise I would probably can be more detailed about it. I think my proposition at the time was that I was telling in my application form how Prudential is like in Malaysia, and I did some research. You see, because at that time there's no internet, but someone gave me a diary, a Prudential diary, and indeed there was a lot of information. And I think I spoke to that. Because many Malaysians were in LSE and City University, they applied. I got in, right? So I assumed I had a proposition. So within 3 years, I qualified, and I was youngest of my grade in 1984, 85, 86. Yeah, so I got promoted very quickly. I was promoted very quickly because I worked hard, and I was committed, in 61 tips, I use the word Cardiff, right, which will be a posting today, actually, committed, attention to detail, and immediate follow-up. And I did programming very quickly, because at that time, they were all punch cards, right? But there are also individual PC, no individual PCs, but they are sort of big computers, stations in the actual department. The punch card is very slow. You got to write down what you want. Somebody write down for you punch card, and they do it. I was able to do model office using Virtual Basic and modeling office, and I wrote a paper called Evaluation of Performance of Life Companies, and that caught the attention of the senior actuaries in Prudential. I had a lot of shortcomings because I couldn't speak English well, and I sometimes don't understand. So they actually sent me to an English language school in Oxford Street, where I learned to pronounce words and emphasis and intonation well. So was that time, but then in '87, they wanted to expand in Asia, so they wanted to expand in Asia, and they and I saw the opportunity to go back to Malaysia. So I went back to Malaysia in '87, and later I went to Singapore because Singapore was fast becoming very large, and they wanted to set up a sort of a head office in Singapore and Hong Kong. So there was that. I became the CEO of the Prudential Singapore in 1994, and that was through a combination of my interest in management and leadership, as well as also my involvement in the starting up of investment business. Because in the past, profits business were the main business in most insurance business in Asia. Investment linked business consumes less capital, and I was able to use the best ideas in UK and use it in Singapore. And I got eventually I got promoted to regional MD in 1999. But my interest in psychology began at around middle of 1990. So when I left Prudential in 2001, for some personal reasons, because I was also getting married, and also I felt that I wanted a break from corporate life. So I went to do a master's in psychology, and eventually I worked in the world of psychology, SHL consulting firm. And that firm gave me a whole set of tools and thinking, and also all the training and short courses I went through helped me in going into a leadership role in more complex environment, where it's the NTUC income, where there was cultural transformation, and also the NTUC enterprise, where it's a more complex, multi-layered stakeholder company or conglomerate, I would say. Eventually in IFOA, I am part of a team trying to encourage a cultural change in IFOA, as well as the wider profession. My joining the council was not, so I left NTUC. I thought I would just hold a number of board positions and pursue short courses, which I enjoy, because I'm financially reasonably independent. But then someone said that maybe I should consider. In fact, it was actually the CEO and also the presidents of the institute and faculty who wrote a general email to encourage Asians to stand. And I stood, and of course I campaigned for it because my name is not known outside Singapore or Malaysia. I campaigned for it, and I got in. And since then, they elected me to be the president, and I'm very honored and privileged to be there. So these pivotal points, I don't think when I first started, I did wanted to be an actuary because I felt that it uses my mathematics, and it is a key to a great career and a rewarding career. And it was that, and it's a secure box, which means that once you have a job, you have a protected job for a long time. And my argument now is that we can't have a protected boss because of digital, but we can have a springboard for the future, which is about mindset. We'll talk about that. So that was, I didn't say that at the end of my life, I would want to be a group CEO of NTUC or to be the president of Institute of Actuaries or Faculty of Actuaries. I didn't think that way. But I did want to be successful in what I do. So that was very much to answer your first question, which is career path, what did I do? But a lot of it has to do with clarity about my purpose. And also, most of my colleagues will say that I have a strong focus and drive, which I think is not unreasonable. But I feel that that is the way one goes about it. But this does not necessarily apply to everyone because it's also a function of personality. Okay? So with that, I'm going to my second question. And the first question is longer, but we will end at 6. What are the career choices, right? You have many career choices, because what you art, you are, unlike accountants or people in business administration, engineers, you want to use mathematics, but in a practical setting involving risk and modeling and involving people, right? An engineer is more about things, right? An accountant, the mathematics is not the same, right? And also business administration is more about business management. So you have a DNA, and if you have to be reasonably good in mathematics, let's be clear about that. And then you want to do practical settings. So I can see, and this is not very complicated. You can see, so the technical roles on the left, insurance companies, all these roles, consultancies like Pricewaterhouse, KPMG, Deloitte, Quantium, which is a data science company. Consulting is great because you have a great variety of roles. You can work for Negara, you can work for MAS, regulatory companies, you can work or policy companies, banks. Many graduates in Malaysia join banks as risk professionals, right? Because you have ability to deal with numbers. In fact, there are many who also join Grab, yeah, and CXA, yeah. But they're not necessarily a full-blown actuary. With a degree in actuarial science, you could do that. In UK, there's a group of actuaries fellows who work for gaming companies, and those who are looking at odds and in casinos. I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to do that, but there's one clear area where there are a lot of numbers and probability at work. Investments, in terms of asset and liability management, actuaries are king, right? Because we do both sides. But increasingly, we also want to promote investment professionals with our investment actuarial qualification, because you could think in a slightly different way from CFA, like, because ours is more meta, more about matching and whole portfolio rather than individual stocks. Yeah, more meta. You can be a head of sales or head of products in an insurance company, or even elsewhere. And there are many actuaries who are CEO, right? There are many actuaries who are CEO. So there's a, and we see many companies in fintech and insurtech. Insurtech, you see quite a few actuaries, and fintech as well. In Australia, there's a big data science consultancy called Quantium, and they are really run by actuaries, because because actuaries are people who use numbers and modeling. You can tilt it. You can tilt it. And you can ask me a question, what's the difference between data science and actuaries? But actuaries is that we have more business domain knowledge, yeah, business, and then there is a sense of professionally coded, yeah, whereas data science is just the science, the skill sets. Platform companies are companies like Google, Tencent, because it is not about services, and they use a lot of data. Telecommunications are also metamorphosizing the platform. When I went to Africa, Zimbabwe, I saw a number of companies in platform, because the digital wallet associated with those companies, a lot of clients, and they got a couple of actuaries working there. Vitality is a famous company in South Africa, and CXA is a bit different, but they are sort of trying to create a health ecosystem. So insurance is one aspect of it, but a lot of data collection to do with wearables, to do with Internet of Things, to do with food you buy, to do with your social behavior. It's about data. You don't need to be an actuary to do that, but actuary is very well qualified to do that, because it's about data, and then you've got business context. So that's why I think that the mindset is key. And there are many actuaries who are great entrepreneurs. The first Malaysian actuary, Steve Wong, is a great entrepreneur, right? You buy and sell insurance companies to banks and all that, because you got the basic business skills. Yeah. So there are many non-traditional roles. So I wouldn't worry about it. But then the same applies, right? If you look at successful people, Steve Jobs, his degree in calligraphy, right? With nothing to do with computer, but it had to do with his passion, right? And also, Bill Gates didn't finish his degree, right? And Li Ka-shing, I don't think he has an MBA, you know. I think MBA actually inhibits him. So you can see, it's really about your mindset, your capability. So you can be anything you want, largely. Okay, some actuaries don't even work. That's true. That's what I've just said. There are many actuaries who don't apply what they do. There are many dentists who are running restaurants, and there are many lawyers who are jazz musicians, yeah, and accountants, and there are many psychologists who got a degree, but they don't end up being psychologists. They could work in an adjacent industry or work in a totally different industry. And it doesn't have to be one-for-one matching. What is the universal skill I encourage you all to have? In your case, if you have actual qualification, you should strengthen your mathematics in all its ways. And then the other thing is mindset. Mindset is more important than skill set. Yeah, and you know about this. It's a question of reminding yourself, right? So actual skill set stay current, and adjacent skill set you can modernize. And I collected about 6 slides from a presentation I did in 2017 or 18 I think, on the navigating across the paradigms. It's somewhere in YouTube as well. And I don't want to over-explain. It's actually your primary strength is mathematics and probability. But you've got to go slowly into data science and machine learning because big data is disrupting a lot of tasks in a traditional statistical world over the next 10, 20 years. So you got some of you will go deep, some will go shallow, yeah. So it's up to you. But then the other aspects of secondary strength and tertiary strength is about mindset, right? I don't want to go too deeply into it. I can tell you these are some of the things you can read up, yeah, because they are of relevance to actuaries, because we work in life insurance, general insurance, health insurance. You can read about negative interest rates, right? Because the whole notion of negative interest rates because of easy money and because of the fiscal stimulus, it's not something we have seen before in the last since money began. Climate change is something you can look at. Smart contracts, genetics. There are a lot of good books on it, right? It's not like 40 years ago. The library might not even have it. So all these are interesting. And you don't have to do it today. Yeah? And I was trying to answer a question 2 years ago. What do you do on Monday, right? Go back and go and do many things, especially now, right? On books, right? And a whole set of books. All this I don't want to go through detail, but I will leave it with Laila, and I can also post. So these are some of the books which inspired some of the thinking behind the IFOA strategy, right? Behind the IFOA strategy. You can go to courses, MOOC courses, Coursera, Udacity. There are so many, right? You can go to magazines, and all that. I got a new slide here. You can go to data science certificate. You can do a data science certificate, but you should concentrate on subject nouns. It's a 10-week course with IFOA, and there are many such courses available. Yeah, but our IFOA has more tilt towards actuarial science and for actuaries. Yeah. Okay, you could. All these are a lot of sources. You just type in World Economic Forum. There's so much material there. Wharton, McKinsey, Business Intelligence, yeah, Tech Today. Once you start fooling one, and then set up an email account for it, there'll be a lot of things coming into your email account. The question is about duration, right? And these are some of the things you can experiment. And this is written in 2018, yeah, so it's 2 years ago, yeah. So you can Google Photos. Not everyone. This easy, yeah. Variables, Apple Siri, Amazon Echo, all this you can experiment. But I actually learned how to dictate because I can't type very fast. I learned how to dictate about 3 months ago. It has been very easy for me now to dictate, so I can write more quickly. Yeah. So all this is about curiosity and learning. So your mindset is important, right? The third bullet point is about curiosity, adaptability, and a growth mindset, and that is what we are encouraging actuaries to have, because our traditional values, and Andrew Kane would agree with me, is about accuracy, consistency, cautiousness, and reticence, and they are very important, especially in reserve roles, right? Reserve roles are pricing roles, relation roles, so you've got to be accurate, consistent, all that. In the world of the digital revolution, you've got to be curious, you've got to be adaptable, and a growth mindset, and you need to have a wider mindset. Yeah. But ultimately, who you are is who you are, right? So you've got to trust your instinct, what you're good at. In my own 61 tips, I say there are two principles which opens up other principles. The first is that you must be clear what your purpose is, what is your life is, but not all suits me, but not everyone thinks like that, right? But maybe half of you, the other half are more organic, yeah. They don't have to worry about this. I found this work for me. I must be clear about my purpose in 1, 3, 5, 8 years, and then have a focus, right? Of purpose. The second meta principle is that focus and drive. Because if you have a purpose but no focus and drive, no point, right? You have focus and drive, no purpose, no point. But once you have these two, the desire to network, resourcefulness, communication skill, getting examination material, all are subsidiary principles. Yeah. Steve Jobs has a speech. You can go and pick it up from the web. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Yeah, stay hungry is that have a drive. Yeah, hungry people will succeed, right? If you're full, you will succeed. Stay foolish. That means don't you just follow your passion. You people will say that, hey, why are you doing this? Just follow. He follow his passion. I don't think when he's learning calligraphy, he has a picture of Apple. But eventually, of course, he went in. He has. But he is a man who really changed. One of the few men who changed the world dramatically, right, in the last 30 years, last 40 years. I went to psychology, but because I was interested, but I didn't know how useful it was going to be. I didn't plan to be IFA president. Yeah, I did plan to be a CEO though. Yeah, but once I got a CEO, I think I just went on. So this was how, and there's no strict formula. Okay, there's no strict formula. So we are on a high point. I think we are comfortable. Okay, what would I tell my younger self? I don't think I'm very fortunate lah. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I wish I was more patient. I wish I could be kinder. Yeah, kinder. I don't think I made a lot of wrong decisions. So, although recently I did say that two business decisions I made were too quick. One which got me into trouble in Malaysia because I need to build relationship first before trying to adjust some of the company strategies. And in Singapore, there was also an issue about business where I got into some kind of public debate with the previous CEO in Singapore. And that was in a Manulife recording, yeah. So it's available. But but generally, of course, I got ups and downs, right, in my life. Everybody does, everybody does, whatever how successful they are. But I think that I will tell you, you got to trust yourself. You got to be, the more you can trust yourself, the better, and know yourself. And I believe that you pay attention, you get what you want. I strongly believe that. And it's never too late. The best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago, to have a tree today. But the next best time is today. Don't defer, just plant it today. It doesn't have to be today, that can be tomorrow or Monday, right? It doesn't, but you know what I mean, right? It's never too late. Even at the age of 61, I can tell you I learned swimming because of COVID-19. So I couldn't swim. But today I got, I'm not trying to impress you, but I was very pleased I could, I started my swimming. I knew how to do breaststroke at the age of 37, but it was a very bad breaststroke. But I got a tuition teacher, swimming instructor 2 months ago. And I learned 3 additional strokes, right? Butterfly, backstroke, and front. But it all came together at the same time this week, last 5 days. Yeah. So it's never too late. Yeah, it's never too late. You look at the lives of Churchill, he became a prime minister at the age of 65. Yeah. At the age of 65, he became prime minister. Yeah. He was a prime minister twice. One is even later. Most of us would be retired, right? So it's never too late. Deng Xiaoping started the transformation of China in 1998. He was 74 years old at the time. Yeah. So 74 years old, he started the transformation of China, not ended, started. So you can see, I know that we are not Deng Xiaoping, we are not Churchill, but there are many people who continue. So you're very young, so be curious, the sky is the limit. So I'm very encouraging you. What biggest obstacle? I think the workers is yourself. Yourself. You believe in yourself, and then had the two mental principles is consistency of purpose or unity of purpose and focus and drive. Yeah. What do you think actual students should go after completing the degrees? This one I can't really answer. It really depends on right? Because I would say that if you have a good job offer, you should take the job first. I think because I find that when I speak to people who don't have working experience, they're too academic, and I say with the greatest respect to Alistair and Andrew, I, and also Laila, because you need to have the business sense, you see, business sense, which I think that when I meet many people from academia, they, 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 they sometimes their worldview is not well informed in my view lah. But they could have an opinion about people in business lah that we may not know how to do academic papers, which is probably true. So I think it very much depends, right? Depends. The next question. No. Do you have any advice for students who are balancing work and study? Okay, this is tough lah. Huh? This is tough because you got to work hard. Yeah, I don't think I can say that I don't have a magic answer, but I think I can only say that you can plan and start early. You don't have to start just because the term starts next year, right? You can start the school holidays. That's what I tell my children, but they don't listen to it. And also, do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate, right? You have the story of the big and small stones, right? Big and small stones. So when you have a jar, you don't fill up with the small stones, then a big stone can usually fill up the big stones first. So start with your difficult task first, not the easy task. Yeah, not the easy task. So I leave it to you. And I can give some practical advice. Take good notes. I find that taking notes is very helpful for me. Talk to other people because you cannot work on your own. You want to know whether you're progressing or not progressing, and you must miss sources of knowledge. And maybe you check the internet as well. Okay, then the other issue is somebody asked me because she was a married woman. And look at so I salute mothers who have children and still pursue a career. It's tough. So maybe in terms of, but I hope that men, certainly increasingly, I think men are playing more and more role, more and more involved in raising kids. So hopefully the burden can be shared. I took the view at my time that maybe relationships should come later. But then you got conflicting advice, like government wants you to start a family earlier and all that in Singapore anyway. So I think you should manage your relationship so that you can focus on what is most important to you. And again, this is very personal, right? Okay, how to de-stress? De-stress, I put up some ideas, but this is not specifically actuarial, but you can exercise, martial arts training, mixed martial arts or boxing, music, dancing, go for a walk, running, swimming, reading movies. I find meditation quite useful, but again, but exercising is good because it gives you endorphins, right? And you feel much better. Endorphins, exercise. Try to exercise at least 5 times a week or even daily, right? Maybe having good friends. You can't. No man is an island, but there are some of us who like to be alone. So, 61 tips. I wrote it for questions I wrote it down because I was asked this question quite often. Drinking is not relaxing, but you still may want to have fun, right? So, drinking and eating, try to be moderate on that. Try to be moderate on that. That is not a relaxant. Yeah, it's actually not so good. But we are human beings, right? So we do enjoy a good meal. Okay. When I started in 81, I did it by application by letter, and there was no people to help me in the UK. I was on my own. I was lucky. I got 2 or 3 job offers, which was very good. But in your case, I think you need to do summer intern, which I think most of you do. Be active in a student society, and those who are meet actuaries, try to network with them, right? And do some research. So when you go for interviews, you ask the right questions, and ask the right questions, and also give very good answers. You can prepare for the answers they ask, right? You ask yourself, why should someone take you on? You must ask yourself, what is your proposition? What is your brand, right? Again, not all of us are going to be successful, right? It's not possible. So how do you handle disappointment? I only can encourage you. You shouldn't be too disappointed with short-term disappointments or short-term failure or lack of success, because if you're patient with yourself, pay attention why you didn't succeed, and stick to all the good principles about working, listening, training yourself, curious, adaptable. That lesson of failure could be your best lesson. Yeah, could be best lesson in your life. I'm old enough to be able to share with you that. But you may, of course, you may say, oh, of course you can say that, but it is true. It's true. If you're a shortcoming, don't get what you want. Uh, maybe you should take a higher perspective and learn from it, and never say die. Never say die.